Today we've got Twisted Rev in the hot seat. Twisted Rev, aka the street preacher, rapper and community activist, who is known for having a lot to say on social issues. Today we wanted to clear up some of those statements that he has said and learn more about what he has for the future. Alright, cool. Twisted Rev, the street preacher. Thank you very much for jumping in the hot seat. Twisted Rev, the street preacher. Interesting name. Where's it come from?
Do you want a long?
I want to know the detail. So do the viewers.
Basically, Reverend, because I'm a bit of a preacher. So back in the day, we was as a part of a music group with my cousin Mickey. This was before I actually had any rap name and that.
Okay.
But I've also known for being a kind of a, like you said, street preacher and that. Like whenever there was problems, I'd probably be one of the first to try and talk people out of it. Like,
okay,
give them other alternatives rather than just violence or whatever it is. So they called me. That's where the name Reverend come from. The twisted part of it is because as quick I was to try and get people out of situations, I'd also be the first involved in situations as well. So there's always kind of had a little joke like, oh, you're kind of some twisted pastor, you're like some twisted reverend. And we just stopped.
Okay, yeah. And you mentioned you was in like a group with your cousin.
Yeah, Mad Mickey. Montego and Capulet, it was called. It was called
what?
Montego and Capulet. So it's based off, if you remember that Romeo and Juliet film and that, we had the two warring families and that, the Montagues and the Capulets and that, and we
That's very thought-provoking there.
Yeah.
Thinking outside the box.
Yeah, so we took it for that.
So how long have you been doing this rap? I would refer to you as a gangster rapper. Would you associate yourself as being a gangster rapper? And how long have you been doing the rap thing for?
I wouldn't categorize myself as a gangster rapper, but I could see why other people would put me in the category, to be honest. But no, I wouldn't consider myself to be a gangster rapper. Just an artist. I like music in general. Like, I've got a wide range of sounding music, not just typical street kind of music and that. But for music, I've been involved in music from I'd say about 14 and that. I was always listening to music and that before, because my dad was a part of a reggae sound system and all that.
Sound system eras.
Yeah, you know that. So
yeah,
I come up on that anyway. I like classical music, I like rock music, I like all sorts of music. So I was raised on music, but getting into the music, I got into it from kind of early, was more did kind of like poems and that, in school you're writing poems and poems and that. And then my older cousins and that also used to rap. They used to be a part of a group called Pen Talk in Birmingham. This was alongside the MSI era, Morris Delta era.
Yeah.
And that, so I always used to hear them rapping that and I enjoyed it. It was kind of therapeutic. So I kind of just followed suit, followed the fashion of my cousins in it and just got involved.
Okay, so in terms of your lyrics, first of all, you've got a catalogue, and I think people underestimate how big your catalogue is and how much international people you've worked with.
Yeah.
In terms of your lyrics, some of your lyrics are conscious, they seem conscious, they are preaching and getting people to think, but some of your lyrics are, to me, violent and have a connotation towards guns and people dying and that. So why is there that two sides?
I'd say, to be honest, it's just the life. I don't want it to sound cliche like something typical that everyone else says, but it's the truth. And I think it's just the life, the environment that I come up in, grew up in, things that I've seen, and all those kind of things that kind of get incorporated into the lyrics. It's like if you just went to any guy on the street from any of these inner city areas and said, how's life? You're going to get good elements, you're going to get bad elements. So it's no different from when we spit in the lyrics or writing the lyrics. You're going to hear the good elements and you're going to hear the bad elements. I think a lot of the time though, with most of the music that people class as typical gangster rap, a lot of those kind of limit themselves to just pushing that message, where I try and incorporate everything that I've been through rather than just that. But you will hear that side of it in there as well.
So, there's that age-old argument that music, especially music from the inner city urban areas, contributes to violence. Okay, and no doubt the drill music is being the music at in the spotlight. Would you say that one, drill music contributes to violence, but two, is your lyrics contributing to violence within the city?
Right. Before, I would have said no, but I'd rather go into a deeper answer and explain my reasons for saying that.
Please do.
The music, for me, and from what I can see, and especially being an artist myself, is a reflection of the environment and not the other way around. So, if the violence wasn't there in the streets anyway, people wouldn't be able to rap about it. However, I won't dismiss the fact that there are weak-minded people who probably listen to it, and I don't want to say influence, because me saying that sounding like they're listening to it and then going out and committing acts because of the music they listen to, and I don't think in majority of the cases that is the case, because like I said, if you look at all the violence that's happened, it's usually between groups of people that have already had problems, historical problems, with postcodes and that. So the music is just them more glorifying actions that they've already committed or was going to do. So I wouldn't say that the music influences it. However, I could say that it maintains the mind frame of that street element. It maintains that dark thought process rather than saying that it's the cause of it.
So, in terms of when we look at, and there's many talented young people, there's many talented people full stop who, that jumped in the rap game. But why is it that majority seem to focus on, hollow tips ripped through your skull, like, that type of, because although Birmingham being the gun capital of the UK and has been for a number of years, but it's not every day we're seeing shootings, but every day I think there is more of a struggle and a fight against, a system that's designed to make life very difficult for us. So why is the focus, do you reckon, in terms of rappers, why do they focus more on the shooting, the killing, the drug dealing than other things?
I think there's two parts to it. So one part I'd say is just the lack of education, as in like self-love, and that being taught to them by family, parents and the environment. I think that's one. And the fact that a lot of black men, because it's typically black men that are involved in these sort of things, don't express themselves, or people kind of come to talk to them about stuff that they're going through. It's their way of letting it known, of relieving all that stress and everything that they're going through. The other part to it, I'd say, it's because it sells. So because it sells, there's a market for it, and people are going to buy into it. They're going to keep producing it, because unfortunately, what a lot of us do is we point the fingers at ourselves rather than everyone else who plays a part in it. Like, in one hand, they tell us, drill music's bad and gun sounds and that. But then we was watching Alma Fudd running around with shotguns shooting at Bugs Bunny all day. We was watching all these mad films and all these other things that also have guns and that and violence in it. And there's a lot of other music that contains guns, violence and that. But is it talked about or being blamed for the violence in other communities? Like, I always say Glasgow had the highest knife crime and that for years before.
Indeed.
Before London, and no music, techno or house or whatever the music they listen to was being blamed on that. In fact, there was even being vanilla, made out to be villains, like how we are. And I don't want to make it into a racial thing, but it is a racial thing, as well as a class thing as well.
Okay. And going into the racial elements, Facebook, you're a guy who's active on social media, and I'm interested in number of posts that you put out. I find it, again, it's thought provoking. stuff that you're pushing out there. There's a couple posts that I want to mention. So one of the posts you put out there, and in essence, I just want to get to have a greater understanding, and as much as I've seen these posts, I've heard people speak about these posts. I don't know if these people have spoke about you, but I want to speak to you about these posts and clear it what you meant by them in essence, really. So, firstly, these Facebook pro-black groups are anti-progression and full of pointless questions and gossip. What did you mean?
A lot of people did actually come in my inbox about that.
Yeah.
Basically, what was happening is that because of the way I speak or the kind of people see me around and that, I usually get added to a lot of Facebook groups, and a lot of them are called like pro-black UK or black power this and all of that. And I found that within those groups, there was a lot of nonsensical arguments and pointless debates, things that that will probably cause more damage to the community than it being beneficial.
Yeah.
Silly things like, how do you feel about black men dating white women, for instance, and that? And I could see why them questions can be, but when there's no, okay, I've asked the question now, like there's no summary, there's no end result to it, it's just left open in the air, or I just thought it was just pointless. And then there's a lot of talking about TV all the stuff you get outside of the group anyway.
Yeah.
Basically, all the stuff and questions you get outside the group, just a lot of trivial nonsense.
Do you think that at the I suppose that it's always been present, but there is more of a focus on race and black in this era today.
It's always been like that.
Yeah,
and the truth is, it's because it is about that. And to be honest as well, I wasn't going to steer that way.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, if that doesn't get faced and the truth doesn't get spoken, then the problem's always going to exist, because it actually is the root of the problem. Black people are damaged. We are damaged, and we're denying the fact that we're damaged. So we're never heal, because we look at the problems of yesterday as yesterday, and we, for some unknown reason, we disassociate the things that we're going through today with what happened yesterday, and it's got 100% to do with why we think, feel, and act the way we're doing today. And then another thing that was there as well, our pain is profitable. So hip-hop is our pain. It's us expressing our pain, and it profits other people. People profit off our pain, whether it's us thinking, we can't be employed, so we need to sell drugs. Typical stuff like that. Prison systems are profitable. So as long as our pain is there and we don't recognize our pain, we can't heal it, and it will always generate income for somebody else. So it's a very important thing that we do talk about it, we do discuss it, and we're honest, and stop throwing it behind us and say, slavery was a long time ago, this was a long time
So
ago.
would you say we need to go back to the slavery chapters and address from there and work our way?
All the way, because great grandmas were raised up by slaves with with certain mentalities, and that their kids was raised under that same mentality. Even if the whip wasn't there no more, they're raised under that same mentality.
Yeah.
We're raised under that same mentality. Like, people think for some unknown reason, like, slavery was like 800, 500 years ago. It was what day? It wasn't that long ago.
So let's look at the gangs kind of thing, the youth them that you know, and I don't say it as though, you know what I mean, I'm on the outside look. I suppose I'm on the outside looking in, but being there firsthand. So would we say that the slavery era has an impact with us as youth trying to kill each other?
Of course, it's got everything to do with it. Like I said, one thing you'll notice in that is that if you go around the world in places where there's large black communities, or it's a majority black country or whatever it is, and check out, especially if the class is like third world or the poorer than England anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you check out their communities, although there's poverty and that, gang issues ain't prevalent the communities stick together, and that's because of culture and things that bind them together. We are one of the only people you can go into our immediate household, and dad's a Rasta, mum's a Christian, brothers are Muslim, the other brothers are atheists, sisters out on the street wilding. Like, there's nothing that binds us together, at least within the Asian community. I'm not saying other communities don't have their problems, but as a whole, or majority of what I can see, there's things that bind them together. So no matter what, there's reasons for them to be together. There is no reason for us to even, like, we're separated on so many different levels, whether it's culture, whether it's skin tone, whether it's, and all these things, by the way, are profitable, because gangs are profitable, like I pointed out. Even bleaching cream and everything else is all profitable. So, like I said, our pain's profitable, and other communities are things that bind them together. I always use this as an example. Have you ever watched like a news report or something, and just say like a aeroplane or something, an incident or crash has happened, and it could happen in somewhere like China, for example.
Yeah.
The news report would always say a plane in China crashed with 3 British people on there. You know why? Because they care, and that there are people involved, even if there was 20 others on there. They're going to highlight the fact there was 3 British people on, because it's important, because they're bound together. There's unity between them.
Right.
We're the only people who don't have that. If anything happens to us, no one's going to put their neck out. There's not a country that's going to invade for us. Like,
So let me
we here alone.
So let me ask you then, Twisted Rev, because again, you know, thought provoking what comes out of your mouth, but then there's the twisted side which reinforces the negative.
Yeah, I'm gonna understand what you said. That.
Why are you not more focusing on the positive and that education that you've got, and we listen when you speak?
Because I always say, you know, it's all good me saying, preaching and telling people don't do this and don't do that, but the reality is it's still happening, and even me, I'm still seeing it. Like, you know, the background, you know, the people that I'm around, like, things, real life situations happen. So, like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing that I talk about it, because I would never tell anyone to go and do something, but me highlighting it isn't the bad part. The bad part is the fact that it's happening in the area. It's not me talking about it. Like, I think a lot of the time we're more focused on us talking about it. It's like if someone with mental health issues or whatever it is talking about the stuff they're going through, you don't condemn them. You start investigating what is the problem, what brought you to this point in life, and that we kind of, when it comes to us, we always do this, and point out us. So with me, I think there's always, as long as I'm still witnessing certain things, I'm always going to talk about it. But like I said, I try and convey my message in a way where it's received to everyone, not just the people in university. I want the people in the streets to hear it, so they can hear it. But while they're hearing it, them to understand that, there's other ways. You know, we can take over the block for real. We can buy this whole street and put our people in these shops and build up our community or our ends or whatever it is that we want to do. Like, I try and always pump that message within there as well as being honest about the situations. Because I think after a point, if I just started rapping clearly about the good life, that would be a lie as well. Because my life ain't good. Some days I wake up and I'm upset.
No, thank you, man. At least you've cleared it up, and that's what the hot seat's about. Another question I want to ask you in regards to the Facebook post. Don't trust these so-called experts, okay? And people who are talking about gang violence and the reasons behind it. They have no intention to help. They're in it to get paid and to help lock up young black males because it pays. Going on us, brother.
Okay, so first of all, I want to be blatantly honest about that post. I read that post while I was highly irritated. A situation happened, and it was involving someone who claims to be part of the community. I don't want to out them out because we kind of hashed it out behind doors. And to sort it. But I still stand by what I initially said. I think a lot of the time we put too much faith and hoping other people like to solve our problems when in outsiders to solve our problem, I should say, when their intentions may be good, but because of the policies and all the everything that surrounds them, they cannot help. They're restricted to help, and I think it takes people like you, people like Craig, people like the other people that are in the community that I can see who are genuinely a part of it and from there to fix the problem. We cannot rely on other people because their intentions ain't, to be 100% honest as well, in my opinion as well, not necessarily right, but my opinion from what I've viewed and witnessed over these years, is not to actually help us, it's to help a narrative and help them and to make it look a certain way. Like, it's not to help us. I'm telling you, like, there is no way that this problem could be happening for so much centuries around the world with all these descendants of slaves and the problem not be fixed. The whole entire world could not care that much for us to be still going through. And I'm not saying that we need other people to fix our problem. We need us.
Yeah.
But first we have to recognize that we're in pain and that we're going through stuff. Because like I said, it's profitable. But yeah, I stand by. I still stand by that.
Thank you for that clarity. 1 mile away was an organisation, or should I say 1 mile away was an initiative to bring together, you know what I mean, two sections of the city, man them to be basically be on the same page. And if I'm right, you was part of that.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a bit of, in terms of, because you wasn't on the actual footage.
No.
But you was associated with that, and also where's it at today, or are you still involved, or in terms of that bringing sense to the young people, what are you on at the moment?
Basically, so what had happened was previously to that, a few years before that, there was a film called One Day, which I was a part of with
Yes.
director Penny.
Yeah, hold on.
Yo, you want that then?
You saying 3 boxes, 400 bags. Make it 3.5 and I'll take it.
Well, you know the deal. Link me same spot half an hour, yeah?
Yeah.
So I was a part of that and that journey with Penny. So when they started doing the documentary, initially I wasn't involved, as you've seen. I wasn't a part of the documentary at all because I actually wanted nothing to do with that, with the whole filming and being involved in the gang documentary and bringing sides together. It just wasn't on my agenda at that time.
Yes.
And that, but what had happened is, while it was being filmed and that, I had some of the guys from over by my way come to me and just be like, basically, if I jumped on board, it would be a good look, and it would help certain situations that was going on. So initially, I kind of like, oh no, I'm not. That's not me. I'm not on all that. But then eventually, I started thinking about it and thought to myself, well, I actually know better. I actually want to see better. I don't enjoy what is going on, and that's so. I eventually agreed, and it just started off with a couple of meetings, couple of talks, and then while I was talking, that's when I met Zim, and at this time as well, this is the first time I actually physically met Zim, and
Okay.
although I knew of him, we never really had no altercations, but we didn't ever cross paths. But it was coincidentally, it was my uncle who passed away, his good friend's son as well. So we knew each other, or knew of each other, but there was no actual problems directly between us.
Yeah.
But at the initial meeting, speaking to him, I realised that we had a lot in common. And at this point in his life as well, he was really on this pro-change, I don't want to say pro-black, but pro-black, like just fixing the things that was going
Addressing
on.
the pain.
Yeah, addressing the pain. And that's what I'm about. So I was like, only makes sense. And we clicked anyway, so we remained good friends after that. And although I wasn't a part of the documentary, he did call me up to say, putting together a little company to kind of tackle all the things that are going on in there. It wasn't about, a lot of people think it was about bringing gangs together. It wasn't. It was more about fixing the problems and addressing the pain in both of the communities. And if gangs decided to join up because of that, or whatever it is they were saying about it, then that would have just been a result of us addressing the pain rather than actual going after gangs. Like, that was never in my intentions, or I can't speak for everyone else, but it just wasn't in my intentions. But so that's kind of how I got involved in that. We did a lot of school tours and talking to a lot of people and that. But yeah, that was how I got in that. Where it's at now. Unfortunately, the actual 1 Mile Away company itself fizzled out because there was a lot of other issues going on surrounding it. Like, there was a lot of times that I'd go places just with him and we'd get swarmed by police just for the fact that we was together. Like, literally one time we had cars, like, armed police and all sorts pull up just because they said that they seen my car license plate and seen one of their car license plates in the same area.
So in essence, two people who are trying to, in essence, reduce crime,
Yeah.
and get people to be proactive.
And
You're getting the
exactly.
obstacle by the said people that are supposed to be.
And to be blunt as well, the police was going to schools and different places and telling them not to mess with us because we was gang members and all sorts of things that were happening.
How do you feel about that? Because I think in terms of when we're looking at gang members or individuals that have lived a particular type of lifestyle, there's a handful of us in the city, and I think all of us have experienced difficulty from the police. Like, what's your thoughts on it?
To be fair, I'm alright, and I say that because I'm not naive. So a lot of naive people and that going through them situations will be upset. They'll be disheartened. They'll be like, I can't believe it. But I know what the system's about. Like I said earlier, I know and I'm very well aware they're not there to help because it won't help them in the long run. So for me, it was just an obstacle I knew was gonna face. The only issue that I had was the way that at the time we as individuals handled it. But I think that was just based on our lack of understanding of how business and all that stuff ran, and we didn't really have no proper mentors around us because this was our first time going into a business like that, and that, so we're still learning ourselves. So it's easy for them to kind of infiltrate and dishearten some of the other people in that. But me, I ain't naive, so I was always aware that it was a big possibility that would happen, and it did.
So, in terms of where Twisted Rev's at and what can we expect in the future from the Twisted side and from the Rev side, what can we expect? Where are you at and what can we expect?
Okay, so right now, I'd say I'm still evolving as an individual, as a person myself. So I'm still evolving, so I'm still learning. I'm still trying to reach. I'm still just trying to understand who I am myself and what kind of direction I'm trying to go in. Obviously, helping the community and all that kind of stuff is always going to be my agenda. I'm always going to be a part of anything that I can to help the situation. But music-wise, I'm still doing it. I'm back producing. I'm just messing with a lot of artists and that behind the scenes and that, helping promote different people and producing for different people and things like that. But lyric-wise, I've got a catalogue of music in that. I think people will probably be surprised because the next thing I'm going to put out, it's more me. I don't care who really likes it, who doesn't. It's just me being comfortable, doing what I love doing best, like, and that's talking and rapping about real life stuff and that. But and business-wise, like I said, I'm just trying to get involved in as much projects that I believe are beneficial.
In terms of the community, it's final question. In terms of the community and you, because I'm aware of you having a willingness and wanting to get involved in things in the community, do you feel that those who are established and probably those on the come up are forthcoming in wanting to partner up and work with you and open doors, or is there obstacles, or what's the situation? How do you feel? What's, in terms of the progression?
To be honest, I've not. Me personally, as an individual, I've not received any resistance from anyone. I'm not really a guy who stretches my hand out, but if someone puts a hand out to me, I will with open arms and that. And that's not because I have a problem or I think to myself they can't help. I know sometimes there's like reasons why people probably don't want to reach out to me or whatever. So I understand I'm not naive. So I just I just do what I'm doing, and then if anyone stretches their hand out, then I'm more willing, as long as I genuinely believe it's beneficial and it's not going to cause damage in the long run.
You know what? It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I've learned from just hearing, you know what I mean, listening to you, and I hope you do continue to just keep pushing forward, because
Respect, man.
you're the street preacher and we're listening. All right.
Respect, my
Thank
brother.
you for the hot seat, man. Blessings.
Respect.